Hello, history enthusiasts. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're embarking on a fascinating journey through time, exploring the rise and fall of democracy. From its ancient beginnings to its challenges in the modern world, democracy has shaped societies and influenced countless lives. Our story begins in ancient Greece, the birthplace of democracy. Here, in the city-state of Athens, the concept of citizens having a direct say in their government took root over 2,500 years ago. But what made this experiment in governance so revolutionary? We'll uncover the principles that defined early democratic systems and explore how these ideas spread and evolved over time. But democracy's journey hasn't been a smooth one. It's faced countless challenges, from internal corruption to external threats. In this video, we'll highlight key moments in history when democracy surged forward, like the signing of the Magna Carta, the American Revolution, and the French Revolution. Each of these events pushed the boundaries of governance and expanded the idea of what democracy could be. Yet, democracy's story is also one of setbacks and declines. We'll examine periods where democratic systems faltered, giving rise to autocracies and dictatorships. What factors contributed to these downfalls, and what can we learn from these historical lessons? Today's democracies face numerous challenges, including political polarization, misinformation, and the erosion of public trust. To sustain and improve democratic systems, we need to address these issues head-on and promote civic engagement and education. This form of governance is both fragile and resilient. It's a system built on the collective will of the people, constantly evolving and adapting to new challenges. Before we delve into the topic of democracy, we'll look at some other forms of rule. Here are some examples. Before democracy, the predominant form of ruling across various civilizations was monarchy. Monarchies, where a single ruler, often a king or queen, held supreme authority, were the most common form of government. Here are some key aspects of pre-democratic ruling systems. Absolute monarchies. In absolute monarchies, the ruler had almost complete control over the government and its people, with little to no legal or institutional constraints. Examples include the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and the monarchies of medieval Europe. Feudal monarchies. In medieval Europe, feudal monarchies were prevalent. Kings granted land to nobles in exchange for military service and loyalty. The nobles, in turn, governed their lands and owed allegiance to the king. Centralized empires. Empires like those of ancient Mesopotamia, Persia, and Rome were centralized under a powerful emperor who controlled vast territories and diverse populations. These empires often utilized complex bureaucracies to maintain order and collect taxes. City-states and kingdoms. In ancient Greece before democracy, city-states like Sparta had monarchic or oligarchic systems. Similarly, ancient Indian and Chinese civilizations were often ruled by kings and emperors. Another form of rule other than democracy was that of oligarchy, rule by the few. In some societies, power was concentrated in the hands of a small, elite group of individuals or families. This form of government is known as oligarchy. Ancient Sparta and the merchant republics of Venice and Genoa had oligarchic elements. Religious rule. In theocracies, religious leaders or institutions held significant power. Ancient Egypt, where pharaohs were considered divine, and various Islamic caliphates where religious and political authority were intertwined, are examples of theocratic rule. Chiefdoms and tribes. In many indigenous and early human societies, tribal systems were common. Leadership roles like chiefs or elders were often based on kinship, age, wisdom, or warrior prowess. Decisions were made through councils or communal consensus. Before the advent of democracy, most societies were governed by monarchies, empires, oligarchies, theocracies, or tribal systems. These forms of government centralized power in the hands of one or a few individuals, contrasting with the democratic principle of rule by the people. Democracy isn't just a system of government, it's a way of life that impacts every aspect of our communities. Let's start with one of its core principles: freedom and human rights. In a democracy, individuals have the right to express their opinions, practice their religion, and assemble peacefully. These freedoms create a society where diverse voices can be heard and respected. Another major benefit is representation and accountability. In a democratic system, leaders are elected by the people and for the people. This means that government officials are accountable to their constituents, and if they fail to meet the public's expectations, they can be voted out of office. Democracy also fosters social and economic equality. By giving everyone a voice, democracy works to ensure that resources and opportunities are more evenly distributed. Policies and laws are debated and created with the input of diverse groups, aiming to reduce inequality and promote fairness. Let's not forget the importance of peace and stability. Democracies tend to be more stable and less prone to internal conflict. This is because democratic processes provide peaceful means for resolving disputes and addressing grievances. Another key benefit is innovation and progress. Democracies encourage open debate and the free exchange of ideas, which can lead to technological advancements and cultural developments. When people are free to think and create, society as a whole benefits. Democracy also promotes education and informed citizenry. In a democratic society, there is a strong emphasis on education and the dissemination of information. This helps citizens make informed decisions about their government and their lives. Lastly, democracy supports human dignity and empowerment. By involving citizens in the decision-making process, democracy empowers individuals and fosters a sense of community and belonging. In summary, democracy isn't just about casting a vote. It's about creating a society where freedom, equality, and progress thrive. It's about giving everyone a voice and ensuring that power truly belongs to the people. Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on how we can build a better society together. Until next time, stay engaged and stay informed. However, like with all things, corruption and the want for power is in us always humans, and this can lead to straying from the core principles of democracy. Outside influence and need for money for wars and growth can lead to compromises, and over a long period of time this can be detrimental to the democratic country and be a major factor in its demise, especially if it is influenced by persons who have no loyalty to said country and its culture or beliefs. In this section we're tackling a difficult but crucial topic: why democracy fails. While democracy is often hailed as the best form of government, it's not without its flaws and challenges. Let's explore some of the key reasons why democratic systems can struggle and, at times, even fail. First and foremost, one of the biggest threats to democracy is political polarization. When societies become deeply divided along political, ideological, or cultural lines, compromise becomes difficult, if not impossible. This polarization can lead to gridlock in government, where nothing gets done, and can fuel hostility and distrust among citizens. Next, let's talk about corruption and lack of accountability. Democracy relies on the integrity of its institutions and leaders. However, when politicians engage in corrupt practices, misuse public funds, or act in their own interest rather than the public's, trust in the democratic system erodes. Without accountability, democracy can't function effectively. Another critical issue is inequality. Economic and social inequality can undermine democracy by creating a system where the wealthy and powerful have more influence over political decisions than the average citizen. This can lead to policies that favor the few at the expense of the many, increasing frustration and disenchantment with the democratic process. Democracy also struggles when there is a lack of informed and engaged citizens. An effective democracy requires an educated and active populace that participates in the political process. However, when citizens are disengaged or misinformed, often due to media manipulation or lack of access to education, the quality of democratic decision-making suffers. We must also consider the impact of external threats. Democracies can be vulnerable to foreign interference, cyber attacks, and propaganda campaigns that seek to destabilize the system. These external pressures can sow discord, manipulate public opinion, and undermine the integrity of elections. Another factor is institutional weakness. Democracies require strong institutions to uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and ensure fair elections. When these institutions are weak or compromised, the foundations of democracy are at risk. Lastly, populism and demagoguery can threaten democracy. Populist leaders often exploit public discontent, promising simple solutions to complex problems. They may undermine democratic norms, attack the media, and weaken checks and balances, paving the way for authoritarianism. In conclusion, while democracy has many strengths, it's also vulnerable to a range of challenges that can lead to its failure. Political polarization, corruption, inequality, disengagement, external threats, institutional weakness, and the rise of populism all pose significant risks. It's crucial for us to understand these issues so we can work towards building stronger, more resilient democracies. So as we come to the end of this video, it is important to understand that true power comes from the people, and no matter the way a country or region is ruled, it's the people who decide what is allowed and what is not the people with perceived power. Love and champagne, thanks for watching. Until next time, brothers and sisters.